As Donald Trump struggles to keep his presidential campaign alive, there's one key battleground state that's getting behind him. Ohio has gone from likely Democrat to favouring Mr. Trump, and I'm hanging out with some of his recent converts. I'm on my way to a Trump rally with two of his biggest fans.
During his rally in Vienna, when he came to Ohio, we actually got to meet him. We shook our hand. We actually got a kiss on the cheek.
How was that?
Oh, it was amazing. It was great. Well, not like that, but it was great. It was really awesome.
Being young, female, and African American, Shomoree and Justice are not typical Trump supporters, but like many in Ohio, they've turned.
What's your political history?
My political history, during high school, I was a Democrat, and I did door-to-door for President Obama.
And what do you think Mr. Obama would think about you supporting Mr. Trump?
I don't think he'd hold anything against me. I honestly don't. Maybe probably think I'm a little crazy. I don't know. A lot of people do.
What would you tell him? How would you justify your decision?
I would tell him that a lot of things that Mr. Trump is actually saying is what I believe in. We were a really good country, and I don't know what happened through the years, but I'd like us to get back to where our jobs were here and that our education was back on top. And he actually supports all that and what I feel and what I believe, so he's my guy.
Shomoree's shifting vote is a thing here. Ohio is a place known for picking presidents. Win Ohio, win the White House, or so the saying goes, making this a key election battleground. Ohio is also defined by steel. This place was America's great manufacturing heartland for more than a century. Now, it's better known as the Rust Belt. An area full of people who want that great history back, and I'm learning swing voters can also be full of contradictions.
No, I'm a Republican, I'm for Trump, but I will always have a love for my Michelle Obama. Akron University to see Mr. Trump! How exciting! Look at that truck.
Here outside Ohio's main cities, people are mostly white, Donald Trump's biggest fans. But his staff at the rally tonight are not neglecting another key demographic that Mr. Trump needs to win over. African Americans are mostly rejecting the Republican candidate, so Shomoree and Justice are a rarity and welcomed enthusiastically into the fold.
USA! USA! USA!
You guys have got amazing seats.
In fact, the young women are given a spot right behind the main attraction. Then the man himself walks in, right in front of the girls. These rallies are known for spectacle. It's difficult to forget the scenes of violence that defined earlier Trump rallies.
I love the people of Ohio.
But today, candidate Trump is here to offer hope to an area defined by its dying industries.
We're going to put the miners and the steel workers back to work.
His other key message today, in front of a mostly white crowd, is for minorities.
Our government has totally failed our African American friends, our Hispanic friends. What the hell do you have to lose? Give me a chance.
This "what do you have to lose" angle has been described as both patronizing and fear-mongering by Mr. Trump's critics. But it hits home for Shomoree and Justice.
The Democrats were actually the true racist ones in the beginning when it first started out, and Republicans were completely supportive of not continuing slavery.
The Democrats do not care about the African Americans. They do not care about the African American voters.
There's also plenty of ill will directed towards Donald Trump's opponent.
If you can read this, the bitch fell off, you know? Life's a bitch, don't elect one, you know? Hey, We've had enough of the Clintons. Come on. Another 4 to 8 years of the same stuff? Please, you know? What are people thinking?
And Mr. Trump's more disciplined approach today hasn't gone unnoticed.
There weren't any personal attacks other than Hillary and Obama, and he's getting better.
I was quite surprised by the Donald Trump rally last night. It was a very inclusive speech. He was incredibly disciplined. He was using the teleprompter. He was appealing to African Americans and Hispanics, groups that he knows he needs. And what we really saw was an incredibly slick performance by a man who knows how to work a room. And 7,000 people who were lapping up every word. With candidate Trump heading off in his private jet, I'm hitting the road. Traveling north to a town called Lorain. Built on 120 years of steel tradition, the last mill shut down early this year. And already, decay is spreading.
Back in the days when I was here in the 80s, 87, 88, we used to have a line full all the way out the door from lunchtime. We don't even have that no more. So it's sad and it's gone down a lot.
Elizabeth has been working at the grill at this local institution for 28 good years. But there's a harsh new reality, and she struggles to talk about it.
And it's sad because the community is really going down. Every other company's going down with, I mean, we have nothing in Lorain. We don't even have barely jobs. We have nothing. Am I done? I almost cried there for a minute. It's just sad. Look.
I'll tell you what, the hash still looks pretty good.
Thank you.
Carlos and his buddies were all laid off from the steel mill this year. They worked there for decades and have always voted Democrat. Most of them are still not sure about Donald Trump, but Carlos is on the turn.
When the economy went bad for the auto industry, for all the places, the banks, they all got bailed out. They got help. Us, they let us sink. We were like the Titanic. Nobody came to save us. We had to fend for ourselves. And I think maybe we need a businessman.
For me, Trump, he's just off the rocker. He says some things out there that are just, you just don't know what's going on with him.
Listen, he's one bad hair day away from nuclear war.
Hey, maybe the other countries need to think that he's a nut.
He doesn't have a plan.
You know, to maybe stand up.
He doesn't have a plan.
Being a military guy that I am, I don't think I want that guy to have those codes that you use for nuclear weapons. All he wants to do is have war with everybody. We'll have another war that can never stop. We already had Iraq and Iran. We don't need another one.
He did everything he could not to.
The steel mill job allowed Carlos to build a good life in his adopted homeland. He migrated to America from the Dominican Republic as a child, but now he's a 56-year-old grandfather with an uncertain future.
Listen to my words. We got to vote for the same guy.
No.
Guy.
No. Girl.
Kitchen debates with his wife Uria are spirited, and no doubt being echoed in millions of households right now.
And I think we need a woman up there.
Is that all the qualifications you need to be? I'll get Trump to wear a dress.
Number 2.
As well as Carlos losing his job, he and Uria now have their hands very full at home. They've stepped in to look after 2 of their grandkids to help out their daughter.
She's for the family. She's for Planned Parenthood. How are you even thinking about somebody who's against your race?
Because you got to be open-minded.
I am open-minded. Is he? Oh my God, help me, Lord.
What? Jacob, say Trump. Say Trump. I love that messing with your grandma. Say Trump, 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 Trump. There you go, say Trump, Trump, Trump.
There's a sense of desperation here, but Carlos is staying upbeat. It can't be easy. He's also keeping himself busy, volunteering for late-night shifts with the local auxiliary police force.
You can't complain about your situation unless you're willing to help. And Lorain has been good to me as far as I've worked here. I've made a living here for a very long time, you know, and It's a way of giving back.
But as the night rolls on, Carlos starts to open up about just how precarious his situation is.
My house right now, I still got to pay my mortgage. You know, I took a buyout from the mill, and I'm good to the end of the year. After, because I put that in the mortgage to be paid to the end. After that, you know, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Around every corner in Lorain are reminders for Carlos of his broken dreams.
You're getting ready for your winter coat. You're a good boy. Oh, my old stomping grounds there. It breaks my heart every time I see that place.
Oh, this place?
Yeah.
How long did you work there?
28 years.
What was the most amount of people that place employed?
Doesn't appear.
13,000?
13,000?
Yeah.
When Carlos first came to Lorain as a young migrant 30 years ago, he says it wasn't unusual for him to scrounge through rubbish bins for food. And it's something he doesn't rule out, even now.
I'm not a proud guy. If I have to dig through the trash, I'll dig through the trash. If I have to pick cans, I'll pick cans. Whatever I have to do to make my family eat, survive, that's what we do. That's what we have to do. That's what you do to help your family out. So shut up and move on.
Maybe Mr. Trump will have some policies to bring things back and make the town a better place again?
Did I have faith that he would do the right thing? No. You know, they're going to do whatever they're going to do. They're not going to consult me. I'm not going to get a call in the middle of the night. You know, hey, Carlos, what do you think about this? They can care less, I think, once they get elected. I'm just a flea on a donkey's butt, you know, meaningless.
I find Carlos's fatalism about his future unsettling. A proud grandfather, 28 years at the steel mill, and still no financial security after the end of this year. "90 minutes down the line from Lorain, another piece of America that was once great. In the 1940s, Youngstown Steel built America's huge war machine. But a third of Youngstown is now in poverty. Times are so tough, there's even a Bruce Springsteen song about the place. Is this what Carlos's town will look like in 20 or 30 years? Overlooking the old steel mills in a bar that feels like a time capsule of Youngstown's glory days, I meet Tony, a local with a voice for the ages.
When the mills were all working here, it was no worry, and it was really no problems. Everybody made money, the stores, the mills, the bars. Everybody had nice homes at that time, and I was like, I've been here all my life. Now things are kind of like getting a little deteriorated, but that's the way life goes. So when the mills left, it kind of like killed Youngstown.
Despite enduring Youngstown's slow decline, Tony is one local not responding to Donald Trump's promises.
I like to see a woman in there. We've had Caucasian presidents all through history. We had one black president. Didn't work out bad. A lady president, I don't think it worked out bad either.
A rare voice for Hillary Clinton in a town that's been hurting for a long time. American football was invented near Youngstown, a rough and tumble sport for a tough place. A place that takes pride in its traditions. Voting Democrat was one of those traditions. But for people who've seen glory days disappear, old loyalties are evaporating.
I'm registered Democrat. My parents have been Democrat forever.
Yeah.
And, you know, but I'm going to vote Republican. I'm voting for Trump.
It's a
guaranteed. I can't vote for Hillary. I can't trust her. God.
The mood for Trump seems to have captured imaginations at the local Republican Party HQ.
Built that wall, built that wall, built that wall, built that wall.
Mark Monroe is the chairman of the Mahoning County Republicans, and he's a supportive leader.
It is starting to look good, yes. I think there's hope.
So are people around here excited about this idea that Mr. Trump has about putting steel back into the center of the American economy, the American?
You know, locally, I know we've heard those commercials. I don't know that the folks around here expect that the steel mills are going to come back. Maybe not here, but certainly in other parts of the country that may be true. What excites them about Donald Trump is the fact that they think that finally there's somebody who goes to Washington who can actually bring about some fundamental change to the system.
With a 3D printed Donald Trump watching on, much of the creative energy here focuses on his opponent.
Oftentimes people think, well, what did we really think about Hillary? Well, I think this sign sums it up very nicely.
Yeah. Do you think some of the attacks on Hillary, not necessarily these ones, but some of the attacks are more intense because she's a woman?
No, I don't think so. No.
I don't know.
In fact, if anything,
all this talk about,
if anything, I think they might be a little bit softer than they might have been otherwise because she's a woman.
What's the male equivalent of bitch? Bastard, isn't it?
That's an Australian question. I don't know what the right answer is.
Right. No, that's cool. No, I was just thinking to myself because I think it's interesting because I've never heard a presidential candidate call another presidential candidate a bastard, whereas it seems to be okay to call Hillary a bitch.
You know, I don't hear people calling Hillary a bitch. That's not
right. I just see it on stickers and T-shirts and.
I don't see that, and I don't think that's the issue. I think there's just concern about her temperament. She seems to be maybe the most ethically challenged candidate who's run for president in my lifetime, certainly.
The distrust of Hillary Clinton is palpable in the Rust Belt and key to Donald Trump's survival in this campaign. Mr. Trump sharpened that attack in the second presidential debate.
And you think it was fine to delete 33,000 emails? I don't think so.
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Yeah, because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton.
Driven quite a lot around this country, but it's my first time in the Rust Belt and probably some of the hardest hit towns economically that I've ever seen. Coincidentally or not, there's also more flags than I've ever seen anywhere, and it makes you wonder whether, when times get hard, one digs in and holds on to national pride, almost as an act of defiance. There's something going on. Flag. Flag, flag. It's as though this part of Middle America is collapsing into a hole. Old industry hasn't kept up globally. Jobs have vanished. People feel cheated. But why does this look like a hole Middle America can't dig itself out of? I've come to a small town just across the Ohio border. It's coal mine country here. Bobby Urjevic is showing me around his beloved hometown of Waynesburg, Pennsylvania, also a battleground state.
So what do you like about Waynesburg?
Oh, it's everything a small town should be. Great people, very clean town. The schools here, we got plenty of stores, restaurants.
I admire Bobby's affection for Waynesburg, but it's also a place going through tough times. A few months ago, the coal mine right next to town closed down.
So you'd rather not leave, even though the teaching job stuff is...
Nope. This is where I want to stay the rest of my life, in this town.
Does the economy make living here more difficult, though?
I think for a lot of people it will. You'll see people moving out of the area, houses for sale.
How does that make you feel?
Sad. Sad. You never want to see people leave a town that I think is a great town.
Bobby's story gives a clue to a deeper problem here, which could partly explain why this part of Middle America seems so stuck in a hole. And it's to do with school funding. Today, Bobby works long hours in a road maintenance crew.
That's the biggest thing that gets to me is the heat.
But Bobby isn't shoveling asphalt by choice.
I taught 3 years in a public school in Pennsylvania, and then the last week of school I was told I did not have a job the following year due to budget cuts.
How did that make you feel?
I literally cried. I cried as I left the office. To have something taken away from you that you've worked for, you go to school for, and you have a passion for, to just be taken away without you even knowing it's going to happen, it just crushed me.
Bobby lost his teaching job after major cuts to school funding in Pennsylvania. Incredibly, these funding cuts are because of coal mine closures. Missy Wilson has been living and breathing the issue as the head of the local teachers union.
So the state of education in Pennsylvania is in a crisis right now. From 2011 to 2016, we've lost 20,000 teachers in 5 years. And so we are most definitely in crisis mode.
That's a heck of a number.
The way it is in Pennsylvania, every business they pay their school taxes or property taxes, and that goes into our, what the district can pay. Its teachers can pay for resources, student supplies. And so when businesses shut down or go bankrupt, they can't pay their property taxes or their school taxes, and therefore that leaves the district short of what they can pay, in their budget.
And it's a spiral, isn't it? Because the funding of the education to get people out of the generational coal structure is dependent on the coal mines, which
itself,
are going out of business.
Right, exactly. It's just a double-edged sword, a vicious cycle, and we truly.
Things are so delicately balanced here. Something fundamental like education relies on the success of the insecure local industry like coal. And so that decay keeps spreading, and the Rust Belt digs in. No wonder people cling to big promises.
I think the area and people here want somebody in there that is going to push for education and not be afraid to use money for education. And as well, this area, not closing down coal mines.
And there's a feeling that some of Mr. Trump's policies will be the way forward.
I really feel that way. I do. And I don't think I'm the only one in this area. I think there's a lot in this area that feel like that.
Clearly, the Rust Belt is a proud place. Every street reveals faded glories. But hope is slow to move on. Here at the annual King of Coal parade, everyone I speak to favors candidate Trump. And whilst teenage parade queens still sit atop beds of coal, their parents and their communities seek change. Perhaps their rusted American dreams will decide the next leader of the free world.